A birthday letter to my daughter, Betty Jean, from Faye Huntsman Barney, her mother. I've been wondering for some time what to give you for your birthday that would be of some value to you. The Spirit keeps telling me, write a letter. Everyone loved you. You was a pretty little girl with bubbly personality, long, thick, dark brown hair that I always kept in ringlets. When you were small, I started sewing your dresses. The first one I made was orchid color, veils. It was different. No pattern, but you still looked cute in it. We lived in Magna, but at this time, you was wearing the new dress. Mr. Jenkins, a man we rented from, an elderly gentleman, come to the door and asked if he could take you out to the corrals with him to feed the animals. When he was bringing you back, he was really laughing. He had stopped to wash his false teeth in a cement watering trough he had for his cattle. He said you was trying hard to remove your teeth and wash them. I can see that. I almost remember it. Mr. and Mrs. Jenkins really loved you. They'd come to borrow you and take you into the part of the house they lived in. They had many beautiful items and dishes in the front room. They said you never touched anything. When your dad was called into the service, we moved back to Richfield and bought Carl Olson's old home. Maynard was born while we were living in Magna, so he was small when we moved back to Richfield. Dad left for training in the military. The house we bought was in poor condition, but livable. My mother was really quite ill at the time, so we lived with Mom part-time. Your tonsils was really infected. Dr. Noyes in Salina said they'd have to come out. You was doing good after surgery when you got the whooping cough. That was a terrible thing to happen. You'd cough so hard it would tear the scabs that were trying to heal in your throat. It went on for weeks. Finally, it got better and the cough healed. I remember you running up to Aunt Bessie's. She lived above Mom. One day you fell and skinned your knee. You came home crying. You had a cute pink dress on. You were so upset because there was blood on your dress. I can still see you. Another thing I remember when you were young, you'd be walking home from school. Kate Nelson, that lived above the block, she would ask you to come into her house. She'd show you all her beautiful things. She knew you wouldn't touch anything. You must have been very special to her. She was Carl Olson's sister. This happened before Orion went in the service. One day we were walking along the railroad tracks. We found some money, a few bills. I don't remember exactly how much. Money was scarce in those days. We were really excited. We didn't know what to spend it on. We finally decided to buy a little red velvet outfit we'd seen in a store for you. It was red velvet dress, a coat and hat to match. You looked so cute in it. Best decision we could have made. One time we were taking Grandma Barney to Salt Lake to catch the train. She was going to San Francisco to take care of Lottie's girls while Lottie was in the hospital with TB. Ray Milland, a famous movie star, and his wife was there at the train depot. They really got interested in you dressed up in your red velvet outfit. She asked if she could hold you. It was exciting. Remember how you and Diane would tend kids and also my mom when Dad and I would go someplace? You had to be the big bosses over the other kids. Betty, I remember when you were the leader of the band. You'd get all the kids in the neighborhood together. You'd always make sure Lanny Jensen was there. He was a shy little boy that didn't have many friends. You'd get pans, utensils, anything that would make a noise, and march around the block. It was a fun time. You were very religious and spiritual. You loved church. You always went to church, even if you had to go alone. Your Sunday school, primary, and mutual teachers always praised you highly. As a young girl, and as you grew older, you always done good in school. You wanted to be a straight-A student and worked very hard to achieve that. You would stay up late at night working on lessons. You got really sick. I took you to Dr. Worley. When he found out what you'd been doing, he said, "You can't burn the candle at both ends. You had to slow down." I remember passing out at Mom's kitchen sink. That was when I was a teenager. Well, I worked at Mark's Ice Cream. I went to school, early morning seminary. But but you can't do that. And I can even remember falling, and just all of a sudden I was on the floor. I don't know what we did about it. You've always had a beautiful voice, Betty, and still do. You've always used your talents the Lord has blessed you with to the fullest. I remember how you, Deanna, and Carolyn always sang and took part in the main events in school. You thought you were shy. Not much. Betty, remember when Mr. Isbell was demanding that you girls eat candied ants? He had brought them from old Mexico. You was spunky enough to say no. Remember your old car that Ron sprayed silver? People called it the Silver Streak. Maynard wouldn't ride in it. He was too proud to be seen in it. You picked up teachers and other people. They liked it. One time in a school program, they gave you money, fake, to buy gas with. So everybody knew about my car. Hey, you know what? You don't have to have a fancy one to be remembered. And that was a fun car. Got a lot of use out of it once I learned that you put oil in it. Nobody taught me anything. I just had to learn. When you was a teenager, the style of the dresses was really full. It took many yards of fabric to sew one. Some of them required a hooped petticoat underneath. When you wore that, it was hard to get you with the others in the front seat of Dad's truck. I can still picture that in my mind. You had many beautiful dresses. You liked to have a small flower or ornament in your hair. I remember the first time you told me about Ron. Dad and I was in California to a uranium meeting. I phoned home to see how things were. You were so excited. You told me about this nice boy you had met. Betty, the Lord knows what a strong and wonderful person you are. You've had many trials and hardships to endure. You've always been willing to accept and try your best. I'm so happy and proud to call you daughter and friend. I enjoy so much the good talks we have, that we can confide in each other. Have a wonderful birthday. I love you, Mom. We're really close. And I think part of it's the trials we walked through together. We always had faith. Went to the Lord first and then we got busy.